Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new here. I am so excited that you're here and today's video is going to be a good one. It is going to be a random generator picks how many hours I read every day for a week. So it is currently Monday and I will be doing this Monday through Friday of this week. So the idea behind this reading vlog, I'm sure you've seen it before. I've seen a lot of YouTubers do it and I thought it was such a fun idea. I wanted to do a reading vlog of sorts this week, but I didn't want like a strict book schedule or books I really wanted to read. I just want to be able to read whatever I want, mood read, maybe get some books off my TBR, some new releases, like anything that I'm feeling. So I thought that this would be the perfect idea. It's like not as much about the books, but more about like my actual reading. So I decided to do the random generator picks my hours I read every day for a week. So that is what we are going to do. And my options are going to be 1 hour through 5 hours because I do work. I work for myself, so I do have a lot of time to read, but still like I can't be spending 8 hours a day reading. So I have 5 hours as my limit. Like I said, it is currently Monday. It's about noon right now and I already spun my hours for the day earlier in the morning at like 5:30 a.m. when I woke up, because if I got 5 hours for today, I wanted to get like a head start. I didn't want to do it later in the day and then run out of time. So I will include that clip right here so you can see what my hours are for today. Okay, so as you can see, I got 2 hours for today, which is very manageable. I feel like I probably read 2 hours every day without this challenge. Like that's probably my average, give or take a little bit. So I will totally be able to get that done, no problem. I haven't read anything yet today because like I said, it's a very manageable number. I probably could start at like 6 p.m. and still get that done. However, I am going to go to the beach in a little while after I go grocery shopping, get some more stuff done and read this afternoon because it's going to be like 70 degrees and sunny out. So I'm gonna soak up the sun and lay out and read and it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be like a little hint of summer. I am so excited to do that. And I have 2 books that I am currently in the middle of. Usually I'm not a multiple book person, but for some reason I've been kind of liking it lately. I'm in the middle of The Personal Librarian, which is a historical fiction. And then I just started Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter last night. I'm only like 50 or 60 pages into this, so I feel like I might prioritize this book because I've been reading it for like over a week. So I'm on page 241 and I think there's maybe a little bit over 300 pages and I'm actually I am enjoying this book, but it's a little like hard to get through and it's like really not bingeable. It's not a fast, easy read. So I've been dispersing other books throughout the story because this book is just not one that I want to sit and read for hours, unfortunately. It's like kind of like a 50-page book or less at a time. I have been enjoying it, but like I said, I'm going slow and steady. So this will probably be what I pick up in a few hours. Okay, please excuse my hair. I just finished a workout and I thought I would do a little check-in because I finished this book earlier. I was reading on the beach, as you guys saw, and I read for 1 hour and 16 minutes. So I only have like 45 minutes left, which should be no problem because it's only 5:30 tonight and I go to bed at like 9:30, which means I have 4 hours of reading to fit in 45 minutes of reading. Or I have 4 hours of the night to fit in 45 minutes of reading. So I finished this book and it's definitely going to be a hard book for me to rate because I did really enjoy it and I think it's gonna kind of like break my rating scale, or not break my rating scale, but it's gonna like my rating scale is gonna have to be a little different. Usually I say I only rate a book 4 stars if I love it, like I can wholeheartedly say I love it, and I can't say that about this book. But I think that that's like the case for like a romance book or like a thriller or something like that. Like this is a historical fiction. It's full of a lot of detail and fact and rich with history, of course. And I just feel like I can't rate it on the same scale as a rom-com. Like I think it's gonna be a 4 star, even though like I didn't absolutely love it. I really enjoyed it. And I think for what it is, I really enjoyed it. And like I loved it for what it was, I guess, or like it was really good for what it was. This is a historical fiction that follows the personal librarian to J.P. Morgan's library, and this involves a whole bunch of manuscripts and art and paintings and statues and just like a whole bunch of things from like way back in the past. Like he pretty much collected all these artifacts and history pieces, and his personal librarian was in charge of curating his collection. It was one of the greatest collections at the time, and the book takes place in the 1900s, and she is a Black American woman who is white passing, so she pretends that she is a white woman her entire life. So the book is her navigating being a Black woman in her career, in her life, just in the world and the time period in general. And I thought it was really good. It was really fascinating. It's heavy on the historical fiction. It reads to me close to a biography, whereas other historical fictions I read, like Kristen Hanna's books, The Nightingale, they almost could be pure fiction, like kind of like a plot. Like there's a lot of story, like it could be fake. It really feels action oriented and a lot of characters and all that stuff. This is very heavy in fact. It's definitely fictionalized, but it still feels very dense with history, and there's a lot of art, and it takes place in New York City in the Gilded Age. So if anything like that sounds good to you, I would suggest this, but it's not like, I wouldn't say it's for historical fiction new readers. So with that book being finished, I've read the second book off of my April TBR, which is pretty good. I don't think I'll fully accomplish the TBR this month, but maybe I'll read like 3 or 4 of them, because this is actually a third book that's on my TBR, and I think I updated you guys earlier, but I'm on page 54, and I read a little bit of this last night, and I don't know if it was because I was tired or I wasn't in a good reading mood, but I was kind of finding it like hard to get through, not because of the story. I thought the story was fascinating right from the get-go, but it kind of was like hard for me to read. Like it felt like I needed to use a lot of brain power, and it was kind of confusing, and I needed to reread some stuff sometimes. So I feel like I need to like sit down and really get into this book today and kind of focus up. It's like definitely not one of those easy thrillers like Freida McFadden ones. It's definitely one that requires more of my brain. I will check back in with you guys later. I think that I'm only gonna like share my thoughts and little clips of me like up until the 2-hour mark, because that is my reading time for tonight, even though I may read past that. Okay, so I just hit 2 hours, so I'm going to stop the timer for today. We are at 2 hours and 45 seconds, and I got to page 92, and the book is definitely starting to pick up. I am getting intrigued, I'm getting invested, like, you know, that classic thriller feeling when you're starting to want to know what happened. And the gist is that we are following 2 main perspectives, and they are both women in their late 30s, early 40s, Lydia and Claire, and I just found out that they are sisters, but you find that out in the back of the book, so I also like kind of knew that the whole time, but they're leading very separate lives. They haven't seen each other in 18 years, but they are kind of reconnecting because Claire's husband just got murdered. And then they also have a older sister, I believe, who went missing like 30 years ago when they were kids, or when they were like teenagers, young 20s, and no one has seen her since the day she disappeared. Her body was never found, nothing like that. Those are the 2 main perspectives, and then there's also a few chapters here and there of their father's perspective, and he kind of spent his life like investigating what happened to his daughter, and he kind of got swallowed up in it and never kind of recovered as a person from what happened. And yeah, so far it is getting pretty good. I'm very interested to see what it's going to play out to be. I feel like it's going to be very twisty. I feel like I'm not going to see what's coming. I feel like it's going to be like quite the journey, quite the ride. I'm very excited for it. And there is a lot of things going on, like little things here and there where I'm like, oh, you got to remember that, like, which is always a good feeling. And I feel like I'm getting my like detective hat on, trying to figure out what I think is going to happen. So this will probably be my last update for tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow when I generate the number of hours I'll be reading. I think I'll do it again early in the morning in case it's a lot of hours and I have to get going early. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Hello, I'm literally in the same spot. It is just now 6 a.m. on Tuesday, and it is time to spin the wheel. Today is kind of a busy day of work. Like Tuesdays are like my busiest day of the week. If I have to make it not busy, I can, but I don't want to. Like, I don't want to get 5 hours. I'm hoping I don't get 5 hours. So we will see. Here we go. 4 hours. Okay. Okay. That is better than 5. so it is now 7:30. I think I'm going to get an hour of reading done now, and maybe I'll go a little longer. We will see. I really want to get into my work for the day at around like 9 or 10, 9:30, something like that. We'll see, but definitely by 10. And I'm just going to read more of Pretty Girls. I read for a little after I talked to you guys last night, but I don't think much. I'm on page 105, chapter 6, and I feel like I could probably finish this book today if I'm reading for 4 hours, which I have to. But yeah, I had a good morning. I do a morning walk every day, so I did that, a little over 3 miles, and then I got my Dunkin'. I'm obsessed with Dunkin' these days. I started like the membership, so I have the app and I order every morning. This is my new favorite order. It is iced coffee with 1 pump of the butter pecan swirl and whole milk. I love the flavor swirls, but if you do the full thing, it's like 150 calories, which I'm just not willing to do in my morning coffee every day. So if you only do 1 pump, it's like 50, which is fine by me. So I'm gonna drink this, get some reading done, and probably see you guys in an hour. Oh my gosh, this book just had such a good twist. I wish I was recording when I was reading it because I literally was like such a good twist. I love when a book can shock me like that. And I have now read for 2 hours and 7 minutes today. So I still have quite a bit left to go, but this book is making it easy to do so because I am getting swept up in the story. It is very good, like a really, really good book. I'm not gonna honestly talk too much because I'm in the groove and I want to get back in it, get some time off the clock. But I will say I'm getting to some really good parts of this book. Some things are being revealed. I'm not gonna say like anything about the plot because I don't want to give anything away, but it's definitely giving like Criminal Minds. Like people said it was disturbing, and I was always curious in like what way it was disturbing. And it's disturbing in the fact that it's pretty much like a big Criminal Minds episode, like one of the episodes with those crazy psychopaths where you're like, oh my god, serial killer, nuts, crazy, disturbing things happening. Like that, I feel like, is what this book is all about. It's like a big, crazy case. And I love Criminal Minds, so this book is definitely doing it for me. I also love that our main characters are kind of investigating and figuring everything out, almost like as the reader is figuring it out. Like I find that I'm thinking a question and then they ask themselves the question. Like it's literally written out in a question, and then it's kind of like we're working on it together because there is a lot of clues and hints and things happening, and it's kind of confusing, but they go over it, like they go over in their heads like what everything means like multiple times throughout the story. So that's kind of fun. It's like you're solving everything together. And on that note, I'm gonna go back to reading. It's 5 o'clock. I have just under 2 hours left of my 4 hours for today, so I should be able to get it done no problem, but 4 hours is a good bit to get done in one day. Okay, I just hit the 4-hour mark and it is 8:55, so pretty much 9 o'clock. I am on page 326, and this book is only $3.94, so I have just about 70 pages left. I'll definitely finish this tomorrow, and it is really good, like really, really good. I am loving it, to be honest. It is very disturbing. I'm not extremely disturbed just because I think I have a high tolerance for that, but it is quite graphic, very dark. I would definitely say tread carefully with this one if things disturb you. I don't know what to say because I don't want to give it away, but it's definitely some heavy stuff. So this was perfect timing for me to finish my reading at 9 o'clock because I go to bed within the next hour. So I don't have to stay up late to finish it or anything like that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the morning and we will see how many hours I'm reading tomorrow. I'm hoping for a 1 or 2 or even a 3-hour day. I could do 4 again or 5, but I would like a lower end one if possible. Just because it's not that the reading is a lot for me. I even think like I can easily get it in. It just kind of like stresses me out to have the number hanging over my head, which I know is like the point of this video, but still, I'm hoping for a low number. Wednesday, and I think this is the first time I'm talking to you guys all day, but you saw earlier that I spun a 5-hour reading day today. So that is quite a lot of hours, and it's exactly the opposite of what I wanted, but it's okay. I'm already an hour and 46 minutes into it. I finished Pretty Girls this morning and I loved it. It was a phenomenal thriller, mystery, suspense type of book. It was so good. Definitely a 5-star for me. It was just like so well written, so complex, like so many things going on. It definitely wasn't like just an easy thriller. It definitely kept me so engaged. It was such a complicated story, a well done plot, all of the things. And it also made me connect to the characters and the storyline like emotionally more so than I typically do in a thriller, which I really appreciated and enjoyed. At the end of the book, I was actually crying. I don't think I've ever done that in a thriller, but it was just like so good, truly phenomenal. And I don't have anything else to say about it. It was just like such a good book. 5 stars, loved it, would highly recommend if you're into this type of book. And then I also started The Queen of Nothing, which is the 3rd book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, which is the Cruel Prince trilogy. It is a YA fantasy trilogy, and I am 46 pages into this one. For some reason, these books in this series, I tend to like drag out picking up the books for some reason, even though every time I pick up the book I'm like, oh, I should have read it sooner, because I really enjoy it. This one got right back into the plot, the action. It's exciting already. I'm already entertained and loving the book. I gave the first 2 books 4 stars, so I'm hoping that this will also be a 4-star or even better. Who knows, maybe it'll end on a bang and it'll be a 5-star. But yeah, this is what I'll be reading today, and I have like 3+ hours left, which means, who knows, I could probably get pretty close to finishing this one. So I have just under 2 hours left of reading to do. I've been reading The Queen of Nothing and I'm really liking it so far. I feel like I can't really tell you guys anything about it because it's the 3rd book in a series. So like that would give a lot away if I told you anything about the plot in this book. But overall, the series is very like fantastical, whimsical, mythical, and then there's a lot of politics, very heavy on like strategy. And people are always like scheming and plotting and manipulating each other and lying, and they're spies. So that is the energy of this series, and I would recommend it. But I'm gonna take a little break from this book because I don't know, I'm just like craving a change. And I'm actually gonna read a nonfiction. So this is called The Psychology of Money. And I listened to a podcast with this author and he was talking about this book. And I loved what he had to say on the podcast. I've been meaning to like learn more about money and my personal finances. And his book sounded really good. So I bought it a couple months ago and I haven't decided to read it yet, but I'm in the mood. So I'm gonna give this a go, hopefully for some like switch up. I'm kind of bored of like hearing stories. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like I'm craving nonfiction, which never happens, so. Okay, I finally hit 5 hours or a little bit over because I had to finish my chapter. I read a lot of this. I was reading it for pretty much the past 2 hours and it is really good. It's really fascinating and it makes me want to go spend like hours looking at my bank accounts and my retirement and just my money in general. Like, I can definitely tell that tomorrow I'm going to be looking at all of these things. I really wanted to look at it right now, but I had to finish my reading time, so I didn't. And yeah, this book is really good. If you're interested in personal finance at all, I would highly suggest it. And it's pretty like riveting for nonfiction. Like, I was thoroughly entertained, learning a lot, loved it. And I got to page 134. So I read 134 pages in this. And then on Queen of Nothing, I got to 132. So actually very similar in both of these. And then I also finished Pretty Girls early this morning. So that is my reading wrapped up for today. And it has been a long day. I am seriously praying that I get 1 or 2 hours tomorrow. 3 would even be manageable. If I get 4 or 5, like I'm calling it now, I might have to fail this little experiment because I don't know if I can do it again. But we will see. We will spin the wheel a 4th time to see how much I'm reading on Thursday. See you guys. Good morning. It is 5:38. I don't know what is with me this week. I set my alarm for 5:50 every day, but every day this week I've woken up at like 5 a.m. I don't know. But it's time to spin. Also, I've decided that if I get another big chunk of time, if I get 4 or 5 hours, I'm just going to save it all to the end of the day. On the previous days, I would try and disperse it throughout my day so it wasn't so overwhelming and it was more manageable at the end of the day when I usually read. But I've decided that if I get 5 or 4 hours today, I'm just going to go about my normal day, get everything I wanted done, and then try and start reading at maybe the afternoon, like 3, and see if I can get it done. And then if I can't fit it in, if I start that late, like, it is what it is, because I just need to like feel normal in my day today. So hopefully I get a low amount, but if I get a high amount, I'm just gonna kind of change my strategy. This is perfect. We got 3 hours. That is so perfect. So perfect. Oh my God. Slay. Probably won't see you until much later because I won't read until much later because I can start this at like 5 and get it all done easy breezy. So hey guys, I keep coming on after I work out and I look nuts, so just ignore that. It's my first time checking in today, obviously, and it's like around 5 o'clock now. So I have 3 hours to read, which I can easily fit in, but I tried to do a little bit of reading like just now. I got 20 minutes done, so I guess I only have 2 hours and 40 minutes left, but I was feeling very tired, like almost take a nap level tired, which isn't gonna work. So I decided to take a shower, get dinner going, and then maybe that will rejuvenate me, give me some energy so I can finish out the reading for the night. Also, by the way, you saw in last night's clips, I made sweet potato. I'm obsessed with sweet potato. Like, I forgot how good just like a roasted sweet potato is. It's so sweet, it's so delicious. So that is what I put in the oven right now because it takes like an hour to get nice and soft. So we'll be waiting on that. I'm gonna shower and then we're gonna read this book. I'm on page 156. I'll probably finish this tonight. And that's all I have to say. Okay, I'm like halfway through my reading time now. I've done an hour and a half and I have an hour and a half left. I thought I'd come on here because something just very shocking and exciting happened in this book. I knew that in like the last 100 pages it would pick up. I've been enjoying it, but I've been waiting for, you know, that to happen, and it definitely has. We're on page 220, so I have just like 80 pages left. Probably gonna finish this soon, and like I said before, I feel like this is kind of a bad book to do in this reading vlog because I can't say anything about it because it's the 3rd book, and like, what am I supposed to do? Like, give away the plot? That would ruin the first 2 books. So I'm probably gonna finish this and then check in later when I start another book. I don't know. Okay, we are done with the 3 hours. I actually think those were the hardest. Like, today might have been the hardest, or not the hardest, but I don't know. I'm thinking it's because I left it all for tonight. But I started about at 5, maybe a little bit before 5. So it took me like 4.5 hours or a little more to read 3 hours with breaks and everything. But I did cook dinner and I did eat my dinner and I did shower in there. So actually, when I think about it, pretty good. So I finished this book and I think I liked it less than the first two. Maybe it was more of my headspace that I was in while reading it. I still enjoyed it, but I wasn't like wowed by it. I feel like in the previous two books I was shocked a little at the end, and I thought it was gonna get there, but it just didn't for me. It kind of just didn't shock me. Maybe fell a little bit flat. There was like a big twist, I guess, but I saw it coming. Like I totally guessed it. And then the other thing I have to say about this is I didn't find the romance in it to be like very satisfying. People say it's a very, very like hint, just a little droplet of romance. And it definitely is there. It's present throughout the entire 3 books, but I'm just not that into it. I know a lot of people love it, even though it's like such a small hint of romance, but I don't really feel that way. Nonetheless, it was good. I'm happy I finished this book. I'm happy I finished the series, and I don't really know what my rating's gonna be for this one. I read like 1 extra chapter in this, so nothing more to say. And yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't really do many reviews or thoughts today. I feel like the books I was reading weren't very like aligned with me sharing thoughts because it's nonfiction and it's a book that's a 3rd in the series. So yeah, I'm also like probably, I don't know, I'm just like not in the mood for it today. So I'm gonna go, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for my final spin on the wheel to see my hours. Fridays, I don't have too much work. I could probably fit in 5 hours fine, but I'm kind of done. I'm kind of hoping it's short. But you know what? I'm gonna try and be positive because usually I love to spend a lot of time reading on Friday. So if I get 5 hours, this is just a sign that I get to read for a long time on Friday, do what I love, and like, usually I would love to do that, but I think it's because I've been like, had these strict hours all week that I'm not viewing it in that way. So I think tomorrow, if I do get a lot of hours, I'm gonna have to pick up a really good book, probably like a thriller that's gonna keep me going, keep my attention. Happy Friday, it is the final day. Let's see how many hours I'm reading for today. Four hours. Okay, okay. Hello everyone, it is finally the time of day to read. It is about 10:45, maybe a little later, 10:48. And you guys saw earlier, I told you earlier, I have 4 hours today. So I'm gonna get a good chunk of that done right now. I have my 2 beverages, my greens and my tea to get me through this. I am quite the beverage girl. I actually have water back there as well. So 3 beverages. And I'm going to read this book, First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. I feel like it is absolutely perfect for today. It is a thriller mystery type of book. I actually have heard or seen some mixed reviews on this. Like, I've seen a bunch of people like it decently, like a 3.5 star rating, but then I've seen some people hate it, like a 1 star. And I don't think I've seen anyone absolutely love it, like be obsessed with it 5 star, but I'm still gonna read it. I feel like there is potential for me to really enjoy it. I love a good thriller. It is my easiest type of book to read, so that is why I am choosing it for today. I literally think I could finish this. It's like a little over 300 pages and I got 4 hours to read today, so that is definitely possible. And I think yesterday was a little hard because I did enjoy the book I was reading, The Queen of Nothing, but all of those books in that series, the Folk in the Air trilogy, they haven't been necessarily like bingeable to me. I don't know what it is about them, but I just like don't want to sit there and read them for hours necessarily. But this has the potential for me to do that, and that is what I need for this type of video, so that the 4 hours doesn't seem like a drag. Like, I want it to be like fun, like, oh my god, 4 hours devouring a book. So that is hopefully what happens here. So I'm not gonna delay this any further. I'm gonna stop chatting and get right to it. My plan is to go for like about 2 hours right now, and then have a break and do some other stuff, and then read again. Unless I'm really loving it, then maybe I'll just sit here for 4 hours, who knows? Okay, so we're gonna start the timer now. There we go. So I've been reading for an hour and a half now, and I am on page 98, so I thought this would be a good time to make a little update. So far, I'm enjoying it. For the first 50 pages, I was really enjoying it, and now I'm kind of seeing why people aren't loving it. I'm still very much enjoying it. I'm still finding it entertaining, but I do kind of have an issue with the writing, which is something that I don't usually think about or find to be the case for thrillers. It's almost like, I don't know, the way it's written, it seems very like clunky. It doesn't seem very smooth. Like the way the characters talk to each other, it's almost like it's unrealistic. Like it's not how people really talk to each other. And then I'm finding it's like a lot of explanation, like almost kind of the vibe of someone explaining to like a young kid. I don't know, it's like too much explanation, like a lot of telling. I don't know. There's just something about the writing that is a little like simple, or making the story seem like silly. Like not silly, just like not super serious the way it's written. But overall, I am enjoying it. It's very fast. There are short chapters, just like it's an easy book to get through. And I think it was like the perfect type of book to pick for this video. And it's about a con woman. Her name is Evie Porter, or her personality, or her cover right now. Her name is Evie Porter, and the con that she is working on is for her boyfriend, whose name is Ryan, and they live in this like small town in Louisiana. She has to deal with his group of hometown friends. He is like pretty rich. He has 2 businesses, and you don't exactly know what her mission is right now, but you know that she's a con woman, so the relationship is fake. And I'm assuming that something crazy is gonna happen, and that's gonna be the plot of the story. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I do like the con artist aspect of it. I don't think I've read a book like this before, so that's pretty interesting. I think I'm gonna read for 30 minutes more now, and then do some other stuff and finish my 4 hours a little bit later on in the day. Okay, we are done with the 4 hours of reading today, which means we are officially done with this whole challenge for the week, which was a random number generator picks the hours I read every day. And let me tell you, it was quite the journey. But before we get into like reviewing the whole week, I thought I would review what I read today. So I read 200 pages of First Lie Wins. I originally thought that maybe I would finish it, but I was just getting kind of like tired of it. So I decided to switch to this book. This book, like not much to say. It is about the con woman, like I was saying, and her relationship with the man that she is currently with. There's like a job, and that's the reason why she's there. But then you also do get flashbacks to her other like identities and personas throughout the years, like what she's done in the past. And it's pretty good. I do have a little bit of an issue with the writing, and it doesn't seem like the most well-written book. Like honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's such a popular book. It kind of feels like elementary. I don't even know if that's the right word, but that's kind of my feelings on this. I'm like relatively enjoying it though, and I will probably continue this like whenever I decide to read next. So then I finished out my last hour of the day with this book, and this is The Psychology of Money. I think this was a lifesaver throughout this week because I kind of found myself getting bored of the stories and just wanting like something different, and this was very interesting, fascinating. Like I learned a lot throughout it, and I actually thought that I would give you guys some pointers that they summed up in the back of the book, because in case you want to know what I learned in here, but you don't want to read the whole book. So these are like his points about money and like the psychology of money. Go out of your way to find humility when things are going right, and forgiveness and compassion when they go wrong. Less ego, more wealth. Manage your money in a way that helps you sleep at night. If you want to do better as an investor, the single most powerful thing you can do is increase your time horizon. Become okay with a lot of things going wrong. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. Use money to gain control over your time. Be nicer and less flashy. Save, just save. You don't need a specific reason to save. Define the cost of success and be ready to pay it. Worship room for error. Avoid the extreme ends of financial decisions. You should like risk because it pays off over time. Define the game you're playing. Respect the mess. And that is pretty much what I learned in this book summed up, but I would recommend reading it all for yourself if you want some insight. Okay, so these are all the books that I have read throughout this week, throughout the challenge. I fully finished and started these 3, Pretty Girls, The Psychology of Money, and then The Queen of Nothing. And then I finished this, but I had already started it, and I started this, but I didn't finish it. So like, let's just say one more book. So I got through 4 books this week, and I read for a total of how many hours? Let's do the math. So on Monday, I got 2 hours. On Tuesday, I got 4 hours, which brings us to 6. Then on Wednesday, I got 5 hours. So we're at 11 for a total. On Thursday, I was 3. So we're at 14 for a total. And then today I had 4 hours. So we were at 18 for a total. So 18 total hours of reading, and I read about 4 books, give or take. And my experience as a whole this week, I would say, like, I'm not obsessed with the idea behind this video. I was more successful than I thought I was going to be, and it actually ended up being less stressful. Like, I was able to get all my work done, but I will say that, like, I wasn't able to do some extra things that I usually like to do in my week, you know, like go for walks, work out, like just, you know, more of my free time was taken up by reading, and I don't really like the strict deadline that forces me to not be able to do some of those things. So if I ever do this video again, which I honestly probably will because it's a fun video, I would want to do it on a week where maybe I'm not really working, or I know I have a few days off where I'm not working. I don't know, maybe around the holidays, I usually take like 2 weeks off around there, maybe a week in the summer where I'm not working, something like that, so that I don't have like the stress that I had during this week. But honestly, we all know I'll probably do this video again, and it was fun. I got to read a lot. It's just something about those strict hour deadlines do something to my brain. So it's pretty much 5 o'clock on a Friday, which is like the perfect place to stop this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more book content. I'll see you in the next one.